Today's episode of the Powerful Nerdcast is brought to you by Baskin Robbins. Baskin Robbins, no matter what type of criminal history you have, they always find out. Hello, my friends. Welcome to another awesome episode of the Powerful Nerdcast. I am Corey, and joined with me, as always, is...
Christian.
And we have another special guest with us today, our good friend...
Jordan. What up, Internet?
That is right. Today, guys, we have some really great topics for you. We're going to cap off the Marvel movie summer by talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp. We just had the opportunity to see the film, and it was a lot of fun. We're also going to talk about the reintroduction of the King of the Monsters himself, Godzilla, and we're also going to talk a little bit about this brand new Dragon Ball movie that's coming out this year, which the fan base is completely divided on. So let's just go ahead and jump right into Ant-Man and the Wasp. This is basically the last big Marvel movie of the year before we move on to Captain Marvel and the eventual Avengers 4. And honestly, I think this was probably the best movie they could have ended with, because Infinity War was just so damned intense, with everyone getting killed off, Thanos getting all the Infinity Stones, and basically dooming the entire universe. So we needed a little bit of levity. That's where Ant-Man and the Wasp comes in, and just like the very first movie, it has a great sense of humor, and it really takes advantage of the fact that it can go to worlds that we've never seen before. So first, let's just go ahead and go around the room, and everybody just give sort of your general thoughts about Ant-Man and the Wasp. Jordan, since you're our guest today, let's go ahead and start with you.
I thought it was great, man. Like you said, especially after what happened in Infinity War. Like, it was nice to have a taste of more happy humor, you know? And I mean, for those of you who have seen it, you know, spoiler alerts coming ahead, just a warning. But, you know, it ended on a much better note than the rest of them, too. I don't know, it was a lot more lighthearted. I mean, it still got dark. It still gave you a little bit of the more mythos of, you know, the Avengers saga. There was, of course, the post-credit scene that everyone blew up about. And, you know, it's definitely still keeps you there. It feels involved in the rest of the MCU. But it also still stands on its own. And I love the fact that they introduced Evangeline Lilly. You know, we finally have, like, a big hit female lead, which I think has been much needed over time. And I don't know, I really like the direction they're heading with the Ant-Man thing right now. I expect more movies out of it. I hope they don't stop with number 2.
Yeah, like jumping in here, Christian, if I had to say what I thought about the Ant-Man movie, I'd say that it's exactly what we needed after such a serious film like Infinity War. It's more like a heist movie, a lot like the first movie, you know, like they're just trying to steal stuff. So yeah, one of my favorite things about Ant-Man this time had to be the actual ants, because they didn't make them a huge character at the end, because they were like Ant-Man's daughter, Paul Rudd's daughter, was like going to get an ant as a friend or whatever, sort of. That's how they showed it at the end of the film. But this time they had them more as comic relief and as sort of like mindless, cute drones, if you will, you know, like the ant that was kept getting eaten by the seagull as he was trying to ride it, you know. There was the ants that were in the Altoid tins that were like bodyguards. They never explain this. Like, they say they need the suit to shrink you and whatever, but then the ants, they can just get big if they open an Altoid tin. Is there a suit in the Altoid tin? How does that all work?
There must be a modulator on the Altoid tin.
Oh, the modulator. That's the actual technology. Oh, yeah.
It's comic book logic.
No, dude, that needs to be backed with hard facts.
The Pym particle.
No,
it's a particle that makes you shrink.
Screw hard facts, man. I hate when people try to overanalyze comic book stuff.
No,
like, you ever seen the game theory videos?
Yes.
And he also does film theory. He just released a video which is all about the Thanos shouldn't have been able to snap his fingers while wearing the Infinity Gauntlet.
I know. I thought about that too.
Oh, because it's hard to do?
Yeah, it's hard metal. Like, you don't.
But he literally has a device that can bend the will of reality. He can snap his damn fingers.
Yeah, if he has a thing that can reverse time, control energy,
affect reality itself.
He can make some metal snap.
I mean, he turned guns into bubbles, and this guy was concerned that he couldn't snap his fingers.
Thanos loves his bubbles.
Is also, I have something personally against the game theory dude. Not that anything that we do is even on his level.
Mm-hmm. But he's a great editor.
He's a good. Well, he has a team of people. He also makes.
Of course, he
probably
does.
Makes a couple $1 million a year.
He released 2 videos yesterday. They're already over 1 million views.
Well, he has a whole team,
Yeah,
but he realized that. I'm sorry, I'm going to go down a tangent for a second here.
That's all right.
He realized if he makes clickbaity videos, and if he ponders to kids, he will get way more views. I don't know. Have you ever even seen a film theory video?
I mean, probably once upon a time. I kind of suck at YouTube. I'm one of those guys that get on there and it's like, okay, I have 3 subscriptions and there's nothing new on there, so I give up.
Dude, I just found like 2 channels all about watches, and I am like obsessed about watches. For the past 3 days. Like just reviews on digital G-Shocks. You know,
You just get sucked into anything on YouTube, man. They're watches.
I love fucking
You're a YouTube
stuff.
fiend.
It's like, look at this Timex piece. This is a $20,000 collector's edition.
No, I don't even. I want the $50 G-Shock. Okay,
The $50 G-Shock.
I don't even want the fancy ones.
No Apple Watch.
I want the Japanese import G-Shock military edition with the golden luminance color. It's just like, it's so cool. Anyway,
What kind of
I'll
watch
tell
is it the Deadpool had? Is it like a Ninja Turtles watch or some
did
shit?
he have
I think it was.
It was like a My Little Pony
It
watch.
was either that or a Hello Kitty one, I think.
Something like that,
It was
yeah.
a Hello Kitty watch.
And Hello Kitty keeps invading Marvel a lot.
Yeah, Hello Kitty showed up in Ant-Man.
So the other thing was, I'm going to get back to Film Theory Guy. I feel like that guy is pandering to borderline the lowest common denominator with his videos. And not that his content isn't good, because it is good. And of course, like you just said, it's greatly edited. It's like well produced. But the dude is just like making videos for kids.
Yeah,
I mean, he used to make videos for, I feel like, nerds. And then he sort of reduced it to just kids. Like
Well, I mean, the thing about his topics, too, is he can literally make it about anything. It doesn't matter if it's, like, common sense type stuff.
The Scrooge McDuck one, have you seen that one? How much money Scrooge McDuck has?
Yeah.
That is like... He like says...
It's like, who cares, though? Like, that's the other thing.
Evidently, more than 1 million people who watch that video care.
I guess, man.
I mean,
I
think it
Well,
comes
was
down to
also
like
sponsored by Disney. That video was.
And it's like his target demographic. Like, he's kind of smart as a businessman because he focuses on the people who have the most available time to watch YouTube. Think about all the kids here in the summer. Like, okay, rake it in. They're just sitting there bored off their
on
asses
their
at
iPads,
home,
just
you know?
watching videos. Yeah, I get it. It's a good move, but I think
It sucks.
his topics are boring now compared to what they used to
I mean, they
be.
definitely are more... Like, when I saw that thing, I was just like, he has the Infinity Stones. He can do anything.
can
Why
erase-
is this a theory? I don't know.
Change like the color of his
Can
skin
it just
or
be a
something?
clank? Why does it have to be a physical
Yeah,
snap?
exactly.
Can it be like a... His fingers should just
Why has
touch.
he even got a snap? Why can't he just be like,
He should just think
you
it.
know, just exactly. How does that work too? Like how does when he uses like the reality stone, how does the reality stone know what the hell he's trying to do?
Read the comic books, nerd!
You gave me the Infinity Gauntlet and I just never read it because, well, that's work.
Yeah, they don't really get into it too much. It's just like the scene on Titan where he gets the final Infinity Stone and then he puts it in, and then all of a sudden he starts powering up Dragon Ball Z style.
Which
like
was
he's
awesome.
literally being like imbued with the knowledge of the universe when he does that. Like it's stuff that we cannot see or perceive. That's the whole
He
point.
is truly a god. I mean, so he's not normal, like not for a normal 100-year life being. Like we don't understand.
You know why I'm really pissed? You know, everyone's pissed off at Star-Lord for, kind of letting the whole thing blow out of proportion. Wanna know why I'm pissed off at Star-Lord the most? Because he couldn't hold off on killing his fucking father for a couple more years so that Ego could have killed Thanos. Ego could have done it. He's a Celestial.
Possibly.
Ego
No, I
definitely
mean,
could have
it
done
could
a
have
lot.
it could have been done.
I mean, if Thanos had all the Infinity Stones, he could just look at him and he'd
Well,
be gone.
yeah, they've said in the comics that Thanos, when he has all Infinity Stones,
Like, he's better.
He's better than all sort of celestial, godlike beings.
Well, there are a few other godlike beings in the like deepest ends of the Marvel comic universe, though, that I think are still like.
You may be right. 'Cause
All
I
beats all.
definitely don't know.
Yeah,
about
I don't
them.
even
Like, if
remember
it's not
their
in the
names.
movies, or if it's not in the Infinity Gauntlet comic, I actually don't know.
Because like there is like a tier of entities that exist like above the Celestials, even like gods. Like there's only like a couple of them, I think, but.
Yeah, there's then there's also the Norse gods. There's the Aztec god. There's so many gods in the. It's like that word gets tossed.
Have
around
you
a
guys
lot.
heard this theory about the post-credit scene in Ant-Man? Like how supposedly some people had seen like a face growing out of the quantum realm behind Ant-Man as he's got that little energy pod, and like some people think it's Thanos, but a lot of other people think it's one of like the other like Eternals, I think it is, or like Kronos, I think some people are saying it is, which is like another big bad kind of guy, I'm assuming, but I don't know, man. I kind of like
time
seeing
guy?
where it's going. Kronos, I think, I think he's
he
the time
controls
guy.
time, which is why they think in the new Avengers film they're going to do time travel to go back and make sure they secure all the Infinity.
It also
Stones.
explains why Ant-Man has that quantum battery too, though, because like they focused on that whole shot dedicated to that quantum battery absorbing energy, and they're not doing that just for Ghost. Like it's gonna have a big piece to play in the next Avengers film, probably how Tony uses that energy to take all them back in time or some shit.
Well, also, you had that one throwaway line at the very end. Let's go ahead and just talk about Michelle Pfeiffer for a second.
Oh, time
'Cause
vortices.
She's an important character in Ant-Man and the Wasp. She's the lost wife of Hank Pym. And it was great to see Michelle Pfeiffer again because, I just don't see her in that much stuff anymore. Most of the stuff I remember her from is like Scarface and Batman Returns. So it's great to see her come back to a comic book movie. But the whole movie is actually all about saving her from the quantum realm. And eventually they do that, and she's experienced things that humans cannot possibly understand, thus she has a good knowledge of the quantum realm. And at the end of the film, as Scott's about to go into the quantum realm, she mentions to look out for any, what was it, like time vortexes?
Time vortexes,
yeah. And it's very obvious that the next Avengers film is going to involve time travel of some kind. They've already had a lot of set photos get released and leaked, showing Ant-Man hanging out with Captain America and a few of the other characters like Tony Stark and everything.
And it's an older Tony Stark, too. And, like, even, what's her name? Gwyneth Paltrow, Pepper Potts. She released a little bit of information in an interview saying, like, oh, here we are, Tony and Pepper have a kid and shit like that. So we're going to see, like, a 5-year time jump, and Ant-Man's probably just going to get shot out the other end of a time vortex and, like, oh, what's up, Tony? Help.
That might happen. I hope they don't. I hope the whole movie isn't based off time travel, because it's sort of like
it's kind of a cheap plot.
Yeah,
point.
it's like it was a dream the whole time.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
It's some bullshit like that. And but at the same time, maybe if they make it look cool enough and there's big enough laser beams, I'll be okay with it. You know?
Yeah, I think the way that they've kind of built up to it and interweaved all of it, it's definitely gonna. I think they can pull it off, especially with all the secrecy. And then they're still gonna add in Captain Marvel somehow, and no one knows how they're gonna do that. That movie comes out 2 months before Avengers 4, so like it's gonna be like a last-minute haul for the final bit of MCU.
Are they doing the new Avengers in summer? Like, they're not even done filming it, but they're trying to release it in summer of
No, they're done filming it. They've been done filming it. They started post on it like a month ago.
Well, they actually didn't film it. I don't know if they may be done filming it, but they didn't film both of them at the same time like we originally thought.
They filmed them back to back, and then they had pickup scenes to get. Like, they had to do reshoots still. And that's probably what you're talking about.
Yeah, according to this, it's going to release on May 3rd.
Yeah.
One day before Star Wars Day. So that'll be pretty interesting, but I don't know if it's...
Can you Google if Avengers 4 is still filming? Because I actually want to know.
No, they're in the post room right now. They've got about a year to do post. They're talking about how they are thankful they've got so much time for it.
Yeah, they wrapped filming this thing back in January.
Yeah.
Damn.
But this is the culmination again of everything Marvel related. So you can only imagine the post-production hell on this movie.
Yeah, I mean, like the graphics department in Infinity War was like 1,200 people, bro. Like your camera department and like camera and grip was like 300 something. It's just like this is all a post-processed movie, like entirely.
Do you remember the other day, Jordan? I was showing you that video of that guy named Mr. Plinkett who does the Star Wars reviews, and he did that one joke
it's like
about
the
credits, and he's like, "Geez, look at these credits. It looks like the frickin' Vietnam Memorial."
Exactly. That's Infinity War, man. It's
fucked up.
By the way, you want to see the best Star Wars reviews on YouTube, check out Mr. Plinkett. Those videos are hilarious. Just get comfortable. They're like an hour and a half long.
And they're great. Plinkett. Like, it's the best
Does it ever
thing.
cut to him, or is it all like
It cuts to him, like, sitting in a chair in what looks like a post-apocalyptic war room that's been, like, just destroyed. Like, it looks like hell. Yeah. Old rustic TV.
I can't describe it truly until you actually see it, but, man, this guy's reviews are just... They're so damn
It's like he
good.
takes advantage of the, like, I'm a deadbeat kind of, like, whiny ass. Like, that whole theme. I don't think he's actually that person. He just acts that character, just like, I'm that guy who never gets off my lazy boy recliner and my old 22-inch
He's on a
TV.
channel that's called Red Letter Media on YouTube, and, again, like you said, Jordan, that's not really his personality. It's just a persona that he puts on.
Yeah, exactly.
But he really goes, like, the extra mile with it every single time. And I cannot wait to see his eventual review of The Last Jedi, because his Force Awakens review was an hour and a half long. And,
that was part 1, wasn't it?
I'm not sure, actually.
I
There might be a part
parts.
2, because he's reviewed every Star Wars film except for Last Jedi thus far, and Solo. So
I can't wait for Solo.
Oh,
Shit.
God. That's going to be rough, man. But let's get back to some positivity here. Let's go back to Ant-Man and the Wasp again. What did you guys think of the return of some of the side characters like Michael Pena?
I mean, great. Like, yeah.
He
tells stories great. Yeah.
I love how when he was getting interrogated there inside their little security shop, like where they were asking like, where is Scott? And his first all he was concerned about was Scott's emotional state. Like, where is Scott emotionally? Because like they injected him some bullshit truth serum that wasn't a truth serum that turned out to be a truth serum. But that whole bit. And yeah, but I forgot where I was going with this shit.
No. Well, it's interesting because that character, it's like, how do you out funny Paul Rudd? But that guy can do it.
Just with awkward too.
Yeah, he's like, he is really funny. I also find it's hilarious that T.I. is in that movie and he barely does anything. And he's actually kind of like the loser tiny guy in the back of the shop that no one really talks about.
Dude, him and the Baba Yaga guy.
That guy. I don't know. The other guy, the Mexican dude, what's his name again? Or the Spanish dude?
Michael Pena.
Michael Pena is so funny. He just like dominates when he's on screen. Like,
Yeah.
he's just super funny.
He's in a new Netflix movie that's about to release too with aliens.
I think it's called it's like some sort of apocalyptic movie. Or
Yeah,
something?
doesn't it come out today?
I think so.
Word.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him. It literally looked like he was like on a spaceship.
I don't think
gun.
I'd enjoy watching him do a serious role though. Now that I've sort of seen
I don't know.
him.
We'll have to see what he's truly capable of.
I'll watch him be serious, and then I'll just plug in lines from Louise where I see fit.
There we go.
Just customize the film.
But you know the Baba Yaga guy. Does he look familiar to any of you guys?
He
No.
does. Where is he from?
You know what he's from?
What?
He was in The Dark Knight. He was one of the Jokers.
That's right. He was the
Yeah.
crazy guy.
Yep, the guy that Harvey Dent interrogates
Yep.
and beats the shit out of. Yeah, that's the Baba Yaga guy. So I like that though because it really that guy has some good range.
Yeah.
like he
Yeah,
can
he
actually
does.
be kind of a serious psychopath, but also like really hilarious and funny in that, of course, that accent that he puts on.
The gypsies.
I really did like that though. But any standout action scenes or like favorite moments from the film for you guys?
I thought their
Ooh.
first fight with Ghost was good because it was good. Like the teamwork fight was kind of cool, and it also showed this villain wasn't mega powerful. Like you could actually kick her ass if you got a jump on her, you know. And I actually like the villain in general because she wasn't motivated by world domination. She was motivated by just fixing her life,
Survival.
You know? Yeah, just survival. You know, it wasn't like I want to be Thanos or whatever.
And I think that's why Pym and Michelle Pfeiffer's character, Hope. No, wait,
Yeah.
that's the daughter. Yeah. Damn, I can't remember her name.
Janet Van Dyne?
Janet Van Dyne,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, I think that's why they in the end are trying to help Ghost. I think they understand that, and they're trying to still be the good scientist and the good guys and shit, and look past the fact that this lady just tried to murder everybody. No biggie.
I also think the action scenes at the end of the film where Ant-Man is pretty large and trying to stop the vehicles, and he gets super big to get the building back off the ferry or something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
That was cool. And also but I also hope they remove when he gets big, he gets tired really fast. Because what I'd like to do is see them come up with some sort of tech where that can actually last for an extended, a 30-minute fight. Not for the whole, not 30 minutes on screen, but I'm saying like if they were doing the Battle of New York of the first Avengers film, he could actually be big, for that fight.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that'd be cool if they went back in time and then Ant-Man became like skyscraper sized for the New York fight.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and he's like punching those big worms in the face and shit.
Imagine what Hulk would do though. You remember
Hulk's
when
always-
Hulk saw what's his name, Sator or whatever? The guy who destroyed Asgard.
He created Ragnarok.
Yeah, that guy. And
Surtur.
That's it. And Hulk's just like, big monster.
Yeah,
Imagine what he'd do with Ant-Man.
that's true. That is true. What about your favorite fight, Corey?
I'm gonna have to. It's so hard to choose. I mean, I love that first fight, like you said, where they team up for the first time.
Yeah.
Where they go into the kitchen and everything, and they take advantage of that entire setting. But I really loved a lot of the big car chase scenes in this movie too. They were really, really thrilling. And again, they took advantage of the fact that these characters can shrink and grow in size, and it was really unique. But one character that I was just reminded of that might be one of the most, I think, fun side villains was Sonny Birch. He was played by Walton Goggins.
Oh yeah, I
That
forgot about
guy
him.
is just, I don't know what it is about that guy, but he's funny. Just look at that guy's smile right there. Look how crazy he is.
Dude, have you guys ever seen Justified? It's an old show on FX with Coggins and Timothy Oliphant. It's like old Kentucky Western style thing, but in like modern day times. And he plays like this gnarly, silver-tongued devil bad guy, like Southern suave kind of dude. And like he just takes that role with him everywhere he goes now. He's always got that Southern evil smile.
I always remember that actor from Django Unchained.
Yeah.
He was one of the main bad
Yeah.
guys. Not the main bad guy, but he was like the assistant to the main bad guy.
He played a character named Billy Crash.
Billy Crash.
Yeah.
He was he the dude that almost cut off the dude's dick?
I forgot.
Yeah, he almost
What a
cut
weird
off
thing to
Jamie
bring up.
Foxx's dick. I could have swore that was his big scene in that movie.
But I'm just looking at his filmography right here. I mean, he's come a long way since The Next Karate Kid.
Oh God, no,
You know?
Corey.
It sucks that he was a part of the worst
Okay,
Karate Kid movie.
so he was. What was his first roles? Let's look. So Django Unchained was 2012.
Yeah.
That's a big role. G.I. Joe? No, we don't talk about.
He was in
those.
Lincoln. He was in Predators. He was one of the people that was. Have you seen Predators, by the way?
Still
Christian?
never seen that movie.
Damn, you need to check that out. He was one of the people who was sent to the Predator planet to be hunted.
Okay.
And he was also really great in that. He was kind of an insane murderer.
He played a drag queen in Sons of Anarchy too.
I haven't seen that show yet, but I'm about to
It's
start
hysterical.
Wait, well, he was in Machete Kills.
Machete Kills.
Is that the sequel?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
Machete?
Yeah.
When did that come out?
Right before Machete in Space.
Oh no. Machete, don't text.
Yeah, this guy's had a pretty nice career.
He's the guy that's good, but he doesn't star, or he's good and he's so good you don't realize he's that actor.
I
You
feel
know,
like
he
he's
just
going to
plays
be
that
the next
character
Gary
so-
Oldman. Like
Yeah,
he's
like-
going to kind of come up in his shoes of
They
playing
should
like
make
a lot
movie
of bad
that's him and
guys.
Gary Oldman starring in it, so no one can forget who they were.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a good thing he was in this Marvel movie too. He always plays characters that die for some reason.
Oh,
Every
he
single
does.
time.
Let's not forget he was in the new Tomb Raider movie that was just oh so unique and different from.
Oh yeah,
all
he
the
got
other
shot
crap.
in the dick in Django Unchained.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
there we go. Because I knew he was the one that almost
Yeah.
shut off.
He got shot in the head in House of a Thousand Corpses. He was playing a cop.
Oh yeah.
So like, just this guy gets killed in almost every single movie that he's in.
he gets a
which
good
is-
line in and then gets blasted.
Shanghai Noon.
No, God. I heard Jackie Chan really regrets making those.
He pretty much quit after that.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan regrets almost everything he's made in America. To be
Yes.
perfectly honest, like he basically went back to his country. He's like, "Fuck this shit."
Fuck this. I got all the money I need. I'm done.
But final thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp. If you could give it a score of like 1 to 10, 10 being the best, what would you give it?
I'd say 8.
It's pretty damn good.
I'd say it's an 8. Yeah.
Give it like a 7.8.
I'm gonna give it a 7. I think it was really good. It's not my favorite Marvel movie by a long shot, but I definitely got a lot of enjoyment out of it and lots of laughs, and the action was really inventive, and I can't wait to see how this is all going to tie into Avengers 4.
That's a good point. Yeah. I feel like it has its small place within the Avenger universe.
But
Yeah. But a very powerful place, and I enjoyed the hell out of it, and I almost skipped it because I was like, I don't really fucking want to pay for another movie this summer. I'm kind of over this. I'm done with the summer movie season. And then I was like, but Paul Rudd's good, but the only thing I think that could have made it better is make Paul Rudd a bigger part of it, you know, as an Ant-Man hero, not as the dude trying to be a good dad with his daughter. You know, like I fucking don't care about that shit.
Doesn't Cassie end up becoming a superhero? I think she takes the Ant-Man suit, like in like the Young Avengers or some shit.
I mean, for all we know, if they do this whole time travel thing and we do a time skip, we could see his daughter becoming a hero. She could become the next Wasp.
Word. That's cool.
Or Ant Woman, or whatever you want to call
Ant,
it.
Ant thing.
That being said,
teenager.
that being said, I thought that Paul Rudd's relationship with his daughter is one of the stronger elements of the movie.
I mean, it's good. I just want more superhero time.
I mean, it's
with Paul
goofy as
Rudd.
hell, and even without the action, I think my favorite stuff is just the. Actually, here it is. This is my favorite scene from the movie. There's this whole running gag of this new character whose name is Detective Wu, who's there to basically monitor Scott while he's on house arrest, and throughout the entire movie, they're desperately trying to catch him. And when they go into his house for the first time, they see that he's so bored that he's been practicing magic nonstop with like cards and stuff. And there's a scene later in the movie where this one police officer just busts into Wu's office and he's just sitting there practicing and playing these cards. And what I love most about this character is that he's such a friggin' Boy Scout. Like
just goody good, like doesn't know a thing. No street smarts.
What the dickens? Like, this guy was so white bread and funny. It was hilarious.
Yeah, he's your stereotypical, like, that the only way you get into the FBI is if you've never smoked pot and you, like, don't do anything bad. You know, like, that's kind of the Boy Scout character he was. But that actor is actually really good because he's the one that played the Kim Jong-un in The Dictator. That's that actor.
He's come a long way.
Yeah.
I love how he talked about his church group too. He's
Yeah.
a youth minister.
They were really selling it, but that actor's funny.
I was almost ready to hate his character initially because at the beginning of the film, he starts to give all that really heavy exposition, but they turned it into a joke. I hate when there's really clumsy exposition in a movie where they have to explain things to an audience, but they really turned that into one of the funniest parts
he's
of the
explaining it to Cassie
Yeah.
in like the most complicated manner possible,
film. Yeah,
and
he
she's like
starts out
9.
like he's going to try and make her understand, but then he just goes crazy with it and it just goes on and on.
Because he
and
broke
on.
Penal Code 2785. And, you know, and, well, the other thing that I think the movie does really well, if I had one sort of like closing remark about the movie, is that it has so many fake outs that you think there's going to be, that's the bad guy, and then it's not the bad guy, and then you see this person, they're not really the bad guy because they're not that much of a threat, and it's just, they just built a good world with a lot of characters, and they didn't try to say, here's the main bad guy. They each got their own role and their own time, and maybe that's why Paul Rudd didn't have a bigger thing, because they were like, let's space this all out for all these other characters to have a chance to shine as well. And they did it all really well. It was a well-balanced film with the character development and the world building.
Yeah.
Also, just I want to ask you guys this one quick question, because it's something that's been bugging me. And again, it's, you shouldn't be thinking about this stuff because it's comic book logic. But like most of the movie,
does his dick get bigger too when he gets big? Is that what you're gonna say?
Actually, what I was gonna say. Now you got me all befuddled.
Sorry.
No, what it was is,
Gosh,
throughout the
dang it.
entire movie, they're constantly chasing after Hank Pym's lab, and he can shrink it, and it literally looks like a carry-on suitcase and
Yeah.
everything, which I think is really clever and funny. There's even a scene where they leave that up, and when it gets big, you can still see it in the air. But did he just like bolt everything to the floor of his lab and everything? Because they're tossing this thing around like a friggin' football
Gravity
throughout the movie.
doesn't apply to the inside of that? I don't know, Corey. There's no good answer to that.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they're literally tossing this thing around and throwing it to each other, and you just, and
Well,
everything
my big thing is
in
like,
place.
he doesn't occupy the whole building. He's got like an underground lab.
yeah, yeah.
So does he just shrink everyone else who lives in that building and carry? Like, are they just along for this ride as tiny people? Like,
I would have to assume.
or is it just empty and, it's
how
just
does
filled
the
with heroin
plumbing work
addicts?
when he, like, do the bathrooms still work when it gets big again?
It's a built-in septic tank, bro.
Yeah.
Built-in?
You just shrink the shit.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, I shouldn't have brought it up because this is a movie where someone has the technology to shrink and make things enlarge, and it's just, this is Rick and Morty logic. Like, nothing even makes sense here.
It's a good point.
Yeah. So, there it is, Ant-Man and the Wasp. If you guys are looking for a really fun and hilarious Marvel movie, we highly recommend checking it out, and it'll prime you up for the next big Avengers film, especially the post-credit scene. If you've seen that, you're especially going to appreciate it. But now we're going to move on to something that's even bigger than Ant-Man. We're going to be talking about Godzilla, King of the friggin' Monsters. He is returning in a brand new movie, and they just released the very first image of him in this film, and it looks awesome, despite the fact that Godzilla looks like he has been eating way too much freaking Baskin-Robbins.
Gojira.
Yeah. I mean, it looks good. It looks like it is Godzilla shooting a beam up into the sky, which he never does, by the way, because he usually is aiming at something, unless he's shooting at an airplane.
There's something above him.
Maybe there is.
Maybe he's firing it at Rodan.
Maybe he's firing
Or Mothra.
Maybe he's just trying to make a statement.
I like
I don't
the
know.
awesome-ass pattern that's on his spikes, though. That seems
that looks
new.
really
I haven't
cool,
seen
yeah.
I
that
feel
before.
like they always do something different the way his spikes light up when
Yeah.
he's powering up to shoot his beam, and this is another good example of them, having their own take on it. And then I also see the chick 11 is one of the actors.
Yeah, she's her and Vera Farmiga are going to be some of the main characters in this brand new film.
That's cool.
So yeah, it looks like she's going to be moving on to a big Hollywood movie here. Hopefully, it doesn't completely destroy her career. But I'm pretty excited about this movie, but only because it's being directed by Michael Dougherty, who has worked on some of my favorite horror films like Trick or Treat and Krampus.
Okay.
It's going to be very stylized. Like, I think it's going to be a lot more high contrast than the
And
first
this
Godzilla.
is straight up Godzilla vs. Monsters.
Yeah,
It's King of the Monsters, so
yeah,
there's like
King of the
it's
three
gonna be,
monsters.
Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, all in one.
I
movie.
really am. I don't know how they're going to make King Ghidorah look normal or fit into a world.
I mean, look at Godzilla. I mean,
yeah, but Godzilla is a giant, like, iguana type lizard thing. I get it. Like, it has 4 legs. It makes sense. But the idea of a creature with 3 heads, with wings and no arms, I don't know. It doesn't make sense, like, biologically.
no, not at all. But I
So-
mean, that's.
I mean,
that's-
it could just be like, one of Earth's first experiments inside
They
the.
let that go.
Yeah, yeah. Earth back in the day when it was molding Godzilla and King Kong and all these other little skull crawler things, it was like, hey, let's try a 3-headed golden one that can't use its hands.
Yeah.
Just
There you
give it
go.
a shot,
I mean, it's gonna be cool. I am excited to see how because these movies, these new Godzilla films, just have they're not realistic, but they have a much more grounded, realistic tone. Like when you see Godzilla versus what were they called, the Mitos, or the
Mutos.
the Muto. Like it was dark. It was like how they handled the first Pacific Rim. They put them in shadow and it was raining and you couldn't see them very well, and it had this gritty sort of vibe to it. And that's the way they're making these new Godzilla films. So I'm sort of excited to see how they, bring these traditional, well-lit dudes in suit monsters into that and it not look weird, So I'm skeptical about that. But as long as they bring back that dude that says, let them fight, I'm cool.
I'm not sure if Ken's coming back, but...
What, they're not going to bring back Aaron Taylor Johnson either? He was the best part of that movie.
Oh, no. We're not
Was that the guy that played Quicksilver?
This guy who played Quicksilver and Kick-Ass. Yep.
And Kick-Ass.
He played Kick-Ass.
Yeah. I never saw Kick-Ass. I never saw that.
Kick-Ass 1 was great. If you take, Chloe Grace Moretz out of the equation, and it was awesome.
And then Kick-Ass 2 had Jim Carrey, but no one remembers that film.
It had Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I haven't seen it either.
He was also Jim Carrey was pretty ashamed to actually work on that movie, though.
Really?
Yeah, it was when he started to go crazy and turn into like a mountain hermit, though.
Yeah.
He's out in the woods eating acid.
Jim Carrey, I feel like, has gone through a major shift where he doesn't care about the Hollywood world anymore.
Except for the fact that he's about to play fucking Dr. Eggman in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
And let's not forget,
Well,
he's no longer Jim Carrey.
With a pile of money.
How is that going to work?
They didn't go to his house. They went to his cabin. And let's not forget, he's no longer Jim Carrey. He's just the universe playing Jim Carrey.
Oh, my God.
They drove a dump truck full of money up to my house. I'm not made of stone. Just... Man, Dr. Eggman, that's just weird. That's like a whole podcast right there.
Did you guys see that documentary about Jim Carrey where he plays the man on the moon?
It's a great documentary.
Yeah, it's a good documentary, and it shows you like how things were so different because they didn't want that footage to get out back in the day when that movie was getting made. But like nowadays, everyone loves all that behind the scenes shit. You know? But they were like, it'll make Jim Carrey look bad, and we don't want to make people think he's an ass. But really, he was just playing a character to a high level.
He became those characters.
Pure method.
He did, Daniel Day-Lewis style shit, Which I'll be honest, I never believed that. I'll be honest. It's just like you were Jim Carrey.
I love watching him annoy everybody on set. I thought it was hilarious.
That was funny. That was funny. Him
even
versus
had that one guy
the
actually
wrestler guy?
fought him legitimately got angry at him.
The wrestler dude?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah, getting back to Godzilla, I'm excited about it. I think it's cool. I think it's I'm glad that Eleven, that actress, I do not know her name, is getting involved with it. Let's see her do something besides just have one-liners and hold her hand out and have CG do all the work. Let's see what she can actually do.
I thought you said hold her hand out and have a seizure.
No.
It's kind of accurate.
It's all the same, yeah. So,
I think it's Millie Bobby Brown. That's her name.
Yeah.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby Brown.
She's got 3 or 2 first names.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I am excited for this. I'm glad that we're having, she's going to be in it, and Vera Farmiga, who I think is great. I think she's going to be great
What's
in this.
she from? Why do I not know?
She's the worst part of the Bates Motel.
I never saw that.
she was Mrs. Bates.
She sucked. I hated her.
I didn't have too much of a problem with her. She was also in The Departed. She was the main female that was in the relationship with both DiCaprio and...
yeah. That's a good film.
Matt Damon.
That's one of my favorite films of all time, actually.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and it's actually a kind of a remake of a Asian movie of some kind. I think it's a Japanese movie.
Do you know that The Good Doctor, that show about the autistic guy that's a doctor? Have you ever heard of that show?
Wait.
Okay, so there's a guy who's autistic, and you know how autistic people are really good at zooming in on something and getting really good at it.
Obsessively focusing.
Obsessively, yeah. Definitely. This guy became obsessively focused about healing people. Right, that's his thing because he saw his brother die and he couldn't help him, so he became obsessed and he became a doctor, and that's the premise of the show. And it's about this medical community at this hospital accepting him, even though he's sort of fucked up, because he doesn't have all the right social skills to be a doctor. Anyway, that show is totally just a ripoff of a K-drama show called The Good Doctor, and they were just repackage that shit and make it American. And I was like, oh, that's what everyone's always done. They just go and they find something that works over here, and then they just white it up and give it to the American audience.
Sorry, Japan. That's ours.
It's ours now. And it's even the same name, except we put The Good Doctor, and theirs is just Good Doctor.
So. Makes it an original Amazon series.
There we go.
Once we run out of the comic book movies, we have to start, taking properties from other places.
Oh
yeah, because we're not creative anymore.
No.
Not anymore.
I mean, they just announced a Gundam movie.
I know, that is interesting.
I mean, I'm excited for it.
Because Ready Player One, everyone loved that scene.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're cashing in on that right now.
I mean, when I saw that scene, I'm like, it can happen. Make it work. Just don't connect it to any of the other ones, because that way, if it sucks, we can just disregard it.
Directed by Michael Bay.
Oh, God. That would suck.
What? You think it's going to be weird for him to dive into robots again?
I'll tell you, look, a Transformer will get its ass kicked by a Gundam, because Gundam isn't it doesn't move like a Transformer. It just like light speed zips around space, you know, and has a laser sword. It's totally different. It's like a
What is the point of it having legs then?
because it can walk.
Because it can move on, you know, if
Land.
it's somewhere with terrestrial.
It's supposed to be like a person tank, so it can walk.
It can also be a spaceship.
It's
Yeah.
quite literally like Gundams. Like they're tanks with arms and legs.
pretty
That's
much.
basically it.
But then the super high end ones are like practically like gods.
Yeah.
That's sort of different at that point.
But I mean, it also depends on what continuity you're talking about. Which again, this movie they could do their very own thing, which I pray that's actually what they're
I
going
hope they
to
make
do.
it serious because the whole point of Gundam is showing the tragedy of war.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
don't want them to make it cartoony.
No.
Like, I want them to go photorealistic with it.
Yeah, it's about a kid that gets like sees his fucking family get nuked or whatever and killed, and he stumbles onto this robot and is having PTSD attacks while killing people. You know, it's a dark
You
film.
just described almost every Gundam.
Yeah, it's like that's what Gundam is.
Yeah.
It's not a
Yeah.
happy, fun. Wow, ooh, I'm saving the village. You know, it's not like it's not like that.
Saving the village with my giant robot.
Yeah, it
Seems like a little overkill.
Well,
It is true though, like that is the part of the course for most of the Gundam anime, and I do hope they are able to capture that spirit. It really depends on who's going to be writing that movie. It's being done by Legendary, you know, and they did Pacific Rim and the Count Kong.
They're gonna bring
movies, and of
Gundam
course the new
into-
Godzilla movies.
Gundam-
I'll be
Gundam's
honest,
coming into the
that's the
Godzilla.
only people that should be doing Gundam then.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes sense. I mean, they've proven, you know, that they can do that. And like you said, in Ready Player One, even though that wasn't done by Legendary, it shows they can make those Gundams work. And that Gundam that was in that movie, that was the Gundam.
Yeah, the
like
original.
the original. And it looked just like it in every single way. It moved like it. It was amazing. It was such a weird and surreal moment to see that in an American film. So hopefully they do something good with this one. And hopefully it turns into a brand new franchise and just doesn't suck.
And doesn't suck.
It doesn't suck. That's right.
What else do you want to talk about?
So I do want to talk about one more thing, Christian. A lot of the people on our YouTube channel have already know my thoughts about this, but I want to get yours and maybe even yours, Jordan, because I know you're kind of a casual fan. You grew up watching Dragon Ball.
Oh, yeah.
They just announced the big details about the new movie that's coming out at the end of the year in Japan, and it's supposed to come out in America in January, which we've got to get some tickets for that sucker when that comes out.
Oh, yeah.
This movie is going to feature the return of a very popular character, one that I've never really been a big fan of. Are you familiar with the character of Broly?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay.
What?
Yeah, there we
Broly.
go. So they're bringing back Broly for the Dragon Ball Super movie, and
Can I tell you my thoughts on Broly?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Christian.
so here we go.
Let it out.
So Broly is only good, in my opinion, in the first movie. Because Broly, in the second...
Go and go.
And Broly was really only good in the first movie for me. Because the first movie was when you were introduced to him, you understood he was some giant force, you got a new Saiyan character, and there were very few Saiyans back then. You essentially had all the half-breeds, which were their kids, and then you had Goku and Vegeta, and that was it.
And then Broly way out there in the distance.
Yeah,
you
and he
know?
was like the Hulk rage monster, you know. Then it was cool to see them fight someone way more powerful than them. And Goku had to fucking use the power of friendship, and he beat him.
The power of friendship.
That's big, which also consisted of punching directly through his
The
torso.
power of friendship with punches. And but then the other ones were like, okay, but now the kids get to fight Broly. Now the this and the that. Now Goku's not there anymore. They got to step up, you know, because they.
And now Broly's a giant swamp ass monster.
It made
Like-
no sense. So in some ways, I didn't care for the last two Broly movies at all, to be honest. But I feel like now that they're coming back and doing this, we're going to get to see Broly at a new power level. We're going to see him in the new world that's been created with the gods and Whis and everyone else. You know, it's going to be sort of interesting. You've already got Kale and Cauliflower or whatever her name is.
Cauliflower.
Cauliflower, you know, there. And they've already shown the other Berserker Saiyan style of green energy. You know, like they've sort of developed that.
Maybe Broly was the Super Saiyan God Beerus has actually been looking for the whole time.
Maybe.
You know, maybe they could finally incorporate that back into the story. I'm still disappointed we never got to see Goku and Beerus have another fight anyway.
I think Beerus doesn't want to fight Goku anymore. I think he's kind of
After seeing Ultra Instinct?
yeah, he's like, I am. What Beerus is more worried about is being embarrassed more than he's worried about winning. Because he can't be, because he needs to keep his prestige as a god. But he also is very aware that Goku doesn't really care about that. Like, he doesn't want to be, he's not trying to one up Beerus. He just wants to fight people, you know? So it's sort of that. And also, Goku, do they even need to fuse into Vegito to fight Broly? Because if he turns on Ultra Instinct, they can essentially should be able to defeat him.
I mean, that's the thing. After Ultra Instinct, I mean, Goku's battle with Jiren was on an entirely different level than anything we've seen. They
powered
from the
up with
entire
galaxies
series.
behind them.
They did. Like it was. They really reached this brand new peak, which didn't seem possible. And that's why it's like, man, they're gonna have to make Broly so stupidly strong in order for him to even like stand a chance against these guys. But again, we have to realize that technically, while Goku did utilize that in that final fight, he still hasn't mastered it yet.
And he can't use it again. He can't turn it on. He has to be in a desperate situation.
Yeah.
You know, so
I mean, even at the end of the show, like, Vegeta's pissed. He's like, why aren't you using that? I was like, I don't even really know what to do here, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why that worked or how that worked out, but it was pretty cool.
And also, technically, that means Vegeta's more powerful than Goku right now because he can go into his ascended blue form, and Goku doesn't have an answer to that besides using Kaioken, which isn't like a real answer. It's just sort of like a temporary power-up. So that's sort of interesting. Yeah, I'm excited about this movie because, like I said, I feel like Dragon Ball Heroes is this dumbass time filler of a show that we're getting, which probably is going to have some cool fights by the end of it. But then when you have the next show, which is technically this movie, Dragon Ball Super Broly, I feel like that's what's going to set up the new season of Dragon Ball Super. So I'm excited to see that progression. You know, I'm excited to see that. And hell, I'm not gonna lie, man. Going to see Dragon Ball movies in a movie theater is awesome.
It is.
It's
really
cool.
fun.
So if they're gonna do another limited release in the U.S., I'm all about that.
I mean, it's definitely coming out in January of 2019.
I still remember this fucking ticket scanner dude at the last one was like laughing at me. I was at a movie theater to see Dragon Ball Frieza. He sort of like laughed about it. He's like, "Oh, he's like, what movie are you gonna see?" I'm like, "I'm gonna see the new Dragon Ball movie," and he like sort of laughed, and I was like, "Fuck you, man." And then
why the hell would he laugh?
It's cool. He works at a movie theater.
Yeah, he works at a fucking movie theater. Anyway, no, that's rude. You know, he's a young kid.
Was that when we went to go see the Frieza movie?
Yeah, I just thought it was funny because when I was younger, I used to like hide that I liked anime because I was always sort of embarrassed about it for some reason. I don't know why. Like in high school, and
dude, you hid that stuff into your mid-20s
or my mid-20s, whatever you want to say.
You know.
So,
I was in fucking anime club in high school.
I went a few times. I don't like anime fans all that much sometimes, okay? Because some of them are antisocial weirdos, and I'm not trying to be mean because that's probably some of our fans, and I'm glad that you guys like listening to us. But at the same time, you know, had to get laid, couldn't hang out with you dudes. So anyway, the other thing is I'm excited about this new movie, and I'm excited about to see it in theaters. That sounds fun.
All right, Jordan, do you have any other thoughts on the giant hulking Broly?
I mean,
I know
it's a
you're
movie.
casual.
It looks like fun. I'd go see it. That's about it. I don't really know much more about it than that. Like, I'm trying not to judge it too much. You know, it's like it's a kind of a conflict zone. So it's like, okay, I see what they're trying to do. Maybe they'll pull it off. Give them a little bit of faith. Maybe it'll work out.
Yeah. Again, I'm kind of like you. I'm not a big fan of the character, but I'm gonna wait until I see the final product to give my final thoughts on this movie. What I will say is I'm excited. All right, guys, well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode of the Powerful Nerdcast. We have a lot of other big updates which are going to be coming out throughout the year about the Dragon Ball Super movie Broly. Whenever those come out, we'll definitely talk about those, and when the movie does come out. If any of you guys have any topic suggestions or questions for us, let us know in the comments section below, and we will get to those in the next episode of the series.